Hi there guys, let's take a look at how to understand and read chord diagrams for the guitar. So, on a chord diagram, you will see three main things. You'll see which finger to use and finger placement, and you'll see when not to play a string and when to play a string as open. So let's start with finger placement. Finger placement is illustrated by the numbers of the circled dots on the chord diagram. So in the top left here we can see a C major chord. And this C major chord tells us that our third, our second and first fingers are going to be used. It's telling us that it's on the A string, our third finger, with the number 3 here. So the chord diagram is in fact laid out as if you were looking at the guitar like this. As if you were looking at the guitar like this. So, at the top of the chord diagram, you'll see a thick line, and that is representing the guitar nut here. So that means that the first group of boxes or frets are indicating the fret just after the nut. So, it tells us that on the B string here, if you would look at it as if it's horizontal now rather than being portrait or landscape here. So fret 1 of the B string requires our first finger. Then we can see that the D string here, the second box, fret 2, requires our second finger. And the A string here, which is our third finger on fret 3. So that tells you your finger placement and where to place your fingers. Now these chords are in the open position here. Of course you can play chords all over the guitar fretboard, all over the fretboard. And what happens when we play them across the fretboard is beside the chord diagram it will tell you which fret to play them on. If it doesn't tell you a fret number, it means, and it has a thick black line at the top, it means that it's going to be played here. Frets 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Either a chord or a scale in this position over here. So, what does the X mean? The X means that we don't play that string. So on the C here in the top left, it's telling us that the low E string here is not played. And that's indicated by an X placed above the thick black line, which is working as our nut here. So this means that the C major chord will start from the A string and we strum from the A string down. Now the O, or the circle, at the top of the chord diagram is telling us that this string is open. So there's an O above the G and high E string. That's because our finger's not pressing down any of the frets on the string, any of these frets. So when you see an O or a circle above the chord diagram, it means play that open and don't use any of your fingers to press any of the frets. If we apply these tactics to the other two chord diagrams, in the center chord diagram, you can see here the E and the A string is not played. The D string is open. Our first finger, the dot has a number 1 on it, here. Our first finger is on fret 2 of the G string. Our third finger is on fret 3 of the B string. And then the high E string is played open. Some of you might know this from lots of songs that have this descending line in it. And then the third chord diagram on the far right is a G major chord. It's telling us that we're going to play all the strings now because we can't see any X above the chord diagram. So it says middle finger on fret 3 of the high E string, sorry, finger 2, finger 1 on fret 2 of the A string, and finger 3 on fret 3 of the B string, and finger 4, the little finger, on fret 3 of the high E string. Then it's telling us to play all the strings. There's no X's above the diagram, so we strum from the low E string all the way down for a G. Don't worry, these chords will be covered in the actual chord lessons in the course, but the intention of this video is to help you understand these chord diagrams and how to read them.